So this is going to be a great review of the Sonim AT&T FirstNet Hurricane Preparedness Webinar. And joining us today for the presentation is Jim Daly, our Senior Director for Sales for the Southeast region, Craig Gable, our Senior Engineer or lead in what I really call our mastermind on this Everything Sonim Rapid Deployment Kit, and the oh-so-famous, everybody knows him, Mr. Fred Scalera, who's a director for the AT&T FirstNet team and manages the National AT&T Disaster Recovery Team. Yours truly, Sean, I'll be doing my very best to keep everything on point here throughout the webinar, so if anything goes sideways, it's probably my fault. But I manage our customer experience group, which encompasses our 24/7 customer experience center, our Sonim Care field deployment team, which we'll talk about as well, and I also manage our training and development program. So we're going to break this session up into 3 distinct sections. The opening section will be an overview of AT&T FirstNet and their focus on emergency preparedness, response, and situational awareness, and that'll be led by Fred. Our second section will be a deep dive into the Sonim Rapid Deployment Kit, and the final section will be a Q&A where we'll answer any questions that you may have as we walk through the presentation. So before we get started, a few house rules if you don't mind. First, you may hear us refer to an RDK, and that's nothing more than the abbreviation for Rapid Deployment Kit, so they are one and the same. To help you get through the chat session, take a look at the screen on the next slide, and you'll see the Microsoft Teams toolbar, and that should appear wherever you move your cursor on the screen. Take a look at the icon with the 3 dots circled there on the picture, and next to that icon, you should see a chat or conversation icon. Simply click on that icon, and a new window will pop open on the right of the screen and allow you to type in your questions. As a backup to that, if for some reason your chat window isn't appearing, just go ahead and email your questions to support@sonimtech.com, and we'll be ready to monitor both the chat window and the support email queue to pose your questions. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. The chat feature is available starting now to open up any questions. And to open up our session today, I'd like to introduce you to the man most everyone knows, as I mentioned before. He truly has dedicated his life to public service and is now focusing all of his energies on managing AT&T and FirstNet's disaster recovery planning and execution. We joke a lot, but he's fared more than his fair share of hurricanes and Super Bowls and national disasters through the years. He's been a tremendous supporter of us here at Sonim. So it's our privilege to introduce Mr. Fred Scalera. Fred, take it away, sir.
Thanks, Sean. Hey, Jim, Craig. So I'd like to talk about, the Response Operations Group. We're in 3 years of operation now, coming into our 3rd year of hurricanes and responses. And we do a lot of preparation for that. We've already trained some more FirstNet consultants up on our team. We're going to run a drill. We actually had a drill with the storm coming into the Gulf and stood up a full plan, and we're ready to go. So we're a proactive response team for public safety. As you can see, this is a slide from Hurricane Michael in Florida. This is what we saw a lot of down there, typical, and you'll see a couple different ones. But what do you do when you first arrive on scene here, right? So SAC Colts are available. We had over 30 SAC Colts available and staged to go into Hurricane Michael. But they take time to get in there, road clearing, how to get it in. This was the storm. The next slide's the storm coming in. And if I can get rid of the bar at the bottom there, you'll see that I can't get rid of it. 1 second. I'm trying to remove it. Hold on, I'm trying to get, because it's over the writing. So you'll see I'll try and read through it. 50 pre-stage assets, 9 were resolved, different ones, requests, how we deployed. That was the storm coming in. And then the next one, you saw the storm, you saw the damage. Go to the next slide. And we'll stay on this one a little while. But this is how communications winds up working out. So everything was leveled. FEMA's in there. AT&T's in there. That radio system is being backhauled over our SAC Colt. So an LMR system was brought up. But when you put this between this preparedness of the storm and the first picture, right, there is a time lapse for this to get in there, matter whether you like it or not. All the tower sites are down, equipment's in. So, we had equipment responding in the day after the storm, but it all depends, the road being cleared. Can we get in there? The drivability, but public safety is going in. the Rapid Deployment Kit was designed so that it could be carried in, has its own portable satellite panel. You could take it in, excuse me, set up a command post anywhere, anytime, any place. And then as this network comes live, as our SATCOLTs love come live, the whole Rapid Deployment Kit, the in this case the Sonim phones or any phones, transition right to the terrestrial network, and the lights will change on the box saying that you're off the satellite and you're back now on the AT&T network. If the network or something was to happen, it would automatically default back. But there's other points. So maybe we stood this up in this area. At some point we had like 30 of these up all over, but maybe one was here. So you get in Florida, because it's flat and level, you could get up to 3 to 5 miles of coverage off that singular 60-foot tower. But you might be in another area that, again, a SATCOLT couldn't get into. You need to advance. Again, you can go forward with a Rapid Deployment Kit. So it'll run off 12 hours of battery. It'll run off 12 volt. It'll run off 110. Satellite panel, same thing, even has its own battery built into it. So that you could take it off and advance from this to the next area and come back to this. So what's occurring today, then you can stay on this one now, but I just want to transfer what's happening today. So today, the president is planning, and we support a lot of events, is planning an event in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The network's good and everything's there, but they want to be prepared if something drops out. We have shipped to one of my FirstNet consultants from one of the response operations group a Rapid Deployment Kit, so that if there's got to be a command post or something happens in the network and they need to stand up a command post area, we can instantly have something there so they get communications. If you come to this one's Bay County, or if you went to Gulf County, so we'll talk about both. Gulf County that's not up. Gulf County was totally down, totally out. We arrived on scene about 24 hours by the time we got in there with the damage, and we actually stayed for 6 months, but they had no communications to anybody in the state. Same thing with Bay County. Bay County, they're building it, everything was destroyed. That trailer is their new command post. We're supplying the network, but again, there's a delay for us. So we've talked about, a lot of agencies are doing if you had a Rapid Deployment Kit with a panel, you could lose your entire command center and still talk back out and make phone calls and hook up with the state EOC. So it becomes very portable. It's a great advanced tool when we're dealing with firefighting and those type of things, right? So where we have a SATCOLT up and they want to move forward to advance to the fires, that all becomes another problem, right? We brought in our first SATCOLT, they want a second CAC. That could be another 14 hours after that. People don't wait for the fire, they advance with them. So these have been quite important. So the response operations group, we own 4 of them, as we just shipped one today to one of our FirstNet consultants, a trained person out in Oklahoma, to have it on hand if they have a command center that goes down or a building they have to stand up that maybe lost coverage, right? We are prepared for everything as a FirstNet, and we have staff that goes out to support these events, but we have a lot of agencies that now own these. The original draft, and we're talking about hurricanes, but other ones, the region idea this came up with, and we talked to FirstNet AT&T talked to Sonim about it, and that's how we developed it, was mudslides in Kauai and Hawaii, where they only have 4 towers on the island, 2 were taken down. They needed to go up and to do search and rescue. Well, we can't drive SATCOLTs and things through mudslides and all, and that's where we came up with this, so you could carry this up into the mudslide area and set up, if you have no trucks, no anything, 12 hours and have full communications to tell us what might be needed, what needs to be there. So it's a really good portable way that, and I say inexpensively compared to all other things that are out there, LTE and all, of you to always have communications when you need it, where you need it, hurricanes, portable areas. We've loaned these to some of the Urban Search and Rescue Task Force when we loaned one when they went to Puerto Rico last year and they needed something, they weren't sure. So some of the USAR task force teams now have gone forward to get these. So it's a good way to be forward thinking. If you could back up your building if it goes down, your response, your area, you could integrate it with the SATCOLTs, and it really ties into the project. So I just wanted to get on and kind of give a level of where we go with the response operations, how we also use these kits. We definitely ship it into a hurricane area with a response operations person when he goes. So he has one with him. But as of today, we shipped one out to Oklahoma with a FirstNet consultant to have it on hand where the president might be. So I think, Sean, if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them at this time. Or if you want me to cover something different from Sonim, I'd be glad to. But I think that's the overview of the kit itself and what it can do. and how it ties in with us.
No, Fred, thank you so much. That's awesome. We did get one question from an attendee. The question, Fred, is, do you have other deployables for public safety besides the 4x4 trucks?
So that's a great question. So we have 72, the ones that say FirstNet on them, we have 72 dedicated dispersed across the country. We have a mandate with our contract with the federal government to the FirstNet Authority that they have a response time of on air of 14 hours, so these can come out. And we have just launched 3 flying. Now, those are the ones that come out initially. We've just launched 3 flying cows, which are like drones with LTE on them. But they're a couple-day deployment. I have to get pilots and all, right? So they don't tie into this. But if it's a Florida situation or it's a large wildfire for a long time, we have to get signal up, and it's going to be there for days because we don't just put these up for a couple hours. We can deploy the flying cows, and we just launched and final tested. If you go to firstnet.com, you'll see all of these. We call it FirstNet 1. I call it a mini Goodyear blimp that has LTE on it. It will go up 1,000 feet, and we can put that up and cover 100 square miles from the air. Think about that. One site, 1,000 feet in the air off a blimp covers 100 square miles. So we are advancing that. And this year we will be developing some other response tools that come into our arsenal in between the RDK and the SAC Colts and our flying equipment.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Fred. One other question just came in, and I'm going to defer this one to Craig on our side. So, Craig, you're getting called a little early here. The question here is, are the RDKs upgradable to 5G when it comes online?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you'll see through the presentation I'll give here in a moment, all the components inside the kit are kind of compartmentalized. So each of the individual components can be upgraded.
Another great question here, Craig and Fred. Actually, this is for Fred. Is AT&T looking at deployable 5G using middle Earth orbit satellite technology?
So that is a great question. So I can say it's not there yet. So you're pretty much talking about the I have to think it low Earth orbits and the 5G technology. So it requires more higher capacity, right? So they need speed and capacity. This satellite here, right, it's not the speed of fiber and, only so much backhaul. We are working that over the next couple years to develop a new deployable. There'll be a small form factor. You won't need this big truck if you're going to do 5G, but they'll have both, right? So if we were out in the middle of a hurricane, you want this large area network, it's still going to be more of this type truck. But if it's the 5G area, so let's say it was the New York City, right? They're going to have a lot of 5G. 5G doesn't have battery backup. It's over fiber. If fiber goes down, so we will have smaller type deployables to be able to deploy and bring up 5G. That is in the roadmap we are currently working on over the next couple of years. We need to wait till all of those satellites are fully available to roll it out, but we already are looking at that to develop it and have a plan. And that our 2021, we have put together a team to start the research and development of that.
All right. Excellent. All right. So if there's no other questions for Fred, I know he's got a very busy schedule. So Fred, is there anything else you'd like to share before we turn this back over to Craig, or are you good?
No, I am good as long as all of you are. Thanks for everybody that joined the call today. Thanks to Sonim. They've been a great partner to ours in a lot of different responses and emergencies. So I thank them. And if there's any questions, please send them. If anything after this call, send it in through to the Sonim support. I'm sure they'll get the question to me and we'll get an answer back out to you. So thanks for your time today. And Craig, Jim, and Sean, thank you very much for inviting me.
Hey, Fred, always, and thank you for the partnership. We appreciate it. Be safe in your travels and look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
All right. Well, great info from Fred, and that gets us off to a great start. So let's move on to the next part of the session where we'll take a deeper look into the Sonim's Rapid Deployment Kit. And for this section, Craig is going to be our expert here. He's going to discuss the technical specs, the capabilities, and pricing of the RDK, and then we'll move into the brief review of Sonim Care. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Craig Gable, who has put many a long night into this project. He is the expert on this piece. So one more reminder to the group that the chat window is open. We are getting them here. So use that or the support at sonimtech.com so we can answer those questions. But Craig, please take it away, sir.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. So, why are we here today? We're here today to talk about being prepared for hurricanes. And we had a discussion yesterday. I believe there's a fourth named storm on its way now. So this is to help you get prepared for when those disasters are coming in. And as Fred alluded to, this kit is a great resource for you to get your voice and data communications up and running before those assets from AT&T and FirstNet can get deployed. So I want to take a dive into some of the functionality that is available. So the whole point of this kit is, as we term, black to blue sky communications. So we're going from having nothing to having that bare bones network. So this kit is able to at least get some communications up and running again while those FirstNet assets are being deployed in the background. And this is the good time filler, gap filler, until those resources are in place. The nice thing about it is deployed in hours and not minutes, or minutes and not hours or days. Literally, this whole kit, as you'll see, some of the components to it can be deployed in 5 to 10 minutes. It's very simple to open up. It's very plug and play type of control, and it's very, very quick to get up and running. Hence the rapid deployment kit, because it is very rapid. It's ultra rugged, so we call it human portable, meaning that it is a rugged case that can be carried into a disaster area. It weighs about 29 pounds. It does have wheels and a handle on it as well, so that helps to get it around if you are taking it for a pretty significant distance on foot. But this thing is it's great to be able to get this up and running very quickly when you need it. The command and control, kind of talk about this of what the brains behind this kit is really focused on the cradle point embedded in the kit, and we'll talk more about that here in a moment, and power over Ethernet. So, think of all the things that you could utilize in a disaster area that would require power over Ethernet. This is IP cameras. It'd be great to have a video to be able to send back to folks that are back at a command center, miles away or hundreds of miles away. Wireless connectivity. So by default, the kit is designed to connect to the FirstNet network. So it's always looking for that cellular network. That is the priority of the kit. If it can't find cellular connectivity, then we can use our optional WAN failover using an Inmarsat option, which I'll get into a little bit later here as well, to bring in satellite communications. So it's a nice way to fill that gap until you're able to connect to those FirstNet resources, whether it's a cow, a sat colt, that sort of thing. Once those resources are in place, like Fred had alluded to, it's going to fail back to the cellular connectivity. So it's a nice overall feature that allows you to connect to basically anything, anywhere. And I think Fred did a great job of explaining that this does allow you to take it pretty much anywhere on the planet, really, with the satellite component, as that will work anywhere. And then once that network comes back up, then we get the automatic fail back over and get you back on cellular service. It does come with 4 ultra rugged XP8 units. These are our smartphones. They're Android-based smartphones, and they're included in the kit, and that you'll see in the next couple of slides. We've got charging bays included in the kit as well to keep those up, powered up and running and at the ready when you need it. It's custom configurable. Kind of address this on the question we had earlier. You'll see that each of the components in the kit is something that can absolutely be upgraded as new hardware comes available, new technology comes available. We can open the kit up, we can replace any component with inside the box and then redeploy it. We also have a new kit coming soon that will bring in LMR capability through a JPS, one of our partners, through one of their units that's embedded inside the kit that allows you to connect up a donor radio that you might have and bring in those LMR services to either connect to disparate networks through the kit itself or extend those capabilities out to the cellular network as well. We also are partnering with Ragent to now take our kit that will broadcast Wi-Fi, which is limited in its area of coverage, about 300 feet at the max. But with Ragent technology, now we can extend that network from the kit and build out our own network on the fly. And I'll show you some examples of how we do that. And so we go from feet to now miles. Definitely more affordable and more powerful than other kits that you may have seen on the market. A lot of kits don't have the expanded capabilities that we have. We're offering a lot more flexibility and adaptability and connectivity in the kit that you'll see through the next couple of slides as well. And so let's give some examples of use cases that we've seen for the kit itself. Of course, with COVID hitting the last few months, hospitals getting overwhelmed and having to turn up these on-site hospitals, parking lots adjacent to the hospital facility itself. The kits come in real handy to be able to extend that network from a building to a new temporary hospital. So again, having the capabilities to tap into their existing network, tap into the cellular network, satellite if it's a remote location, and bring all that flexibility into that hospital, and then using the power of the Ethernet ports on the kit itself and the Wi-Fi capability to get all of their devices up and running really, really quick. And of course, why we're here to talk today, during hurricanes specifically, again, this gives you a great way to get your voice and data communications up and running quickly until those more permanent resources come in from AT&T and FirstNet. Natural disasters. So we've addressed a lot of customers who are battling wildfires out in the West, well, really all over the country, and having this kit available to them as well, because battling a forest fire out in the middle of nowhere where there really isn't a cellular network at all, it just doesn't exist. This gives them the ability to put the kit on edge coverage and now bring in those communications and then extend the network using the Ragent mesh technology as well. Isolated environments, with hurricanes hitting, some of the countries out in the Caribbean where it's taken down complete networks. The kit could absolutely be used there with our satellite communication. And again, it's going to take a long time. Fred mentioned that they had some assets on site for up to 6 months until they got their macro network built back out. Being isolated on an island or some remote location away from any major city, the kit comes in great to be able to turn up those satellite communications as well. Remote workers. So we've had some use cases where customers wanted to have a kit with a remote worker that was traveling outside of a cellular area to work on, maybe it's a power grid or something along those lines, oil and gas, where they want to have that backup capability outside of the cellular network area. So now they can use the satellite services to build out that communication, have that in case they had an incident that was a life-threatening incident. They'll be able to communicate back utilizing our XB8s and some of the functionality with our SOS button and other options on the phone to communicate back to headquarters that they need some help. Emergency situations in urban areas, so shopping malls as an example. Maybe the mall's on fire and you've got to cut the power, and now you don't have any type of connectivity or cellular service inside the building. And if you're in a basement, as we all know, a lot of times the network doesn't work at all. It just doesn't exist unless you have an in-building solution. But our power's been cut, so we have nothing. So this gives us the ability to turn up the kit outside the building and then extend the network using the Radiant technology and mesh networking into the building, and we can build out that network as big as we need it, and bring those communications up to the surface. And again, it's so quick to deploy. You can transport this on an airplane. It's no issue there. It can be shipped all over the country, all over the world, and deployed anywhere and quickly. So let's talk about what's actually inside the box. So this is a top-down view of what the kit looks like with the lid open. And again, the brains behind the kit is the Cradlepoint IBR 900. It's if you think of Cradlepoint, if you're an existing Cradlepoint user, Cradlepoint's designed for wireless failover. So we actually flip the use case and make wireless the primary, and the WAN connectivity is the failover. So and we combine that with taking the Cradlepoint that has a single LAN port, and we basically put that into a Ethernet hub and inject power into it. So not only do we have extended number of Ethernet ports, but each one of them has power over Ethernet included as well. So that's great to be able to run IP phones, IP cameras, maybe a tethered drone, of course, any type of computers, anything that you might have in your arsenal today that requires Ethernet or power over Ethernet can plug right into this kit, and it's truly plug and play. The power supply that powers the whole kit, it's a 15.6 amp battery, pretty powerful. It's going to last you for quite a while, and it really depends on how much usage you have going on during the event. So if you got a lot of users that are connected up to it, you're charging phones, you're charging external devices. It does have an included 12-volt adapter to charge any accessories that you might have. It does also have two USB-A ports for power as well. No connectivity through those ports, but just for powering up other devices. So if you're overloading it, you might get 4 or 5 hours if there's not that much going through it, connected to it and charging at the same time. You might get 8 to 10 hours. So it's a pretty stout battery, and of course if you're traveling with this, loaded on a truck or some sort of vehicle that has power to either through an inverter to plug this in, now you can extend that power and use this indefinitely. As long as your truck is running, doesn't run out of gas, then you can run this kit for an extended long period of time. And of course, Fred mentioned, 4, 6, 8 hours. It really depends on the situation of how much time you need to fill that gap before the cellular network comes back available, either through mobile resources or the macro network itself. To control or manage the power, does have an included on-panel display. where you can see the current usage, amount of time left. And then complementary to the panel display, we have a smart power management application that's preloaded on each of the 4 Sonim phones. And with that application, you can Bluetooth connect back to the kit and manage and see a lot more detail of what's going on with your battery. And that way you can estimate how much time you have left. What do you need? Do you need to round up some way to keep the battery charged, that sort of thing. So keep you on task to make sure that you're not going to run out of battery. And as I mentioned before, with the 4 included XP8s, it does have 4 charging bays. They're just drop-in bays. So you just drop the phone in and it starts charging on its own. Under this panel here, it's got the Sonim logo, got these 2 handles. Once we unscrew these 4 screws, the phones are stored within the kit itself. So they stay with the kit and they're at the ready when you need them. One thing I want to mention back on the battery and charging, I do recommend that you charge the kit at least every 3 months, but it wouldn't hurt to be in a monthly cadence. Just put a reminder on the calendar to pull this out, drop the phones in the bays, and just plug it in. It's real simple setup. Let it charge. It should charge from a dead battery to a full battery in about 4 hours. It's a pretty rapid charge time. And that way, this kit is ready to go when and where you need it. Again, talking about the intelligent failover to satellite services. So this included WAN port maps directly into the cradle point and brings that connectivity as a failover option. So we partnered with Inmarsat Gov to bring in their BGAN Explorer 710. We'll see some additional information on that here in a moment. But this is a great way to get that communication up and running quickly. The BGAN can be deployed within 5-6 minutes. It's very simple to use. Most users can be trained on it in one training session, about 10 minutes. It's truly powered on, plug it in, and you're up and running. And then with our partnership with Radiant Communications on the mesh network, so this allows us to plug in a single mesh networking node and kind of think of it as a super intelligent Wi-Fi access point. So not only is it providing Wi-Fi access, but it's also providing backhaul. So it's talking to other mesh network modules, or breadcrumbs as they've termed them. And so you can deploy these in a grid pattern, in a line pattern, however you need to build out your network. Take that coverage where you need it, and they will talk to each other independently to bring that backhaul into the kit. And each one of those, no matter where you're at, and some of them are human portable, meaning that it's built into a vest, built into your gear, your existing gear that you might already be wearing, just clip it on, and now you become a walking hotspot and a walking backhaul access point. So a lot of power then. I'll show you a nice picture diagram of what that looks like here in a moment as well. And then in our coming soon kit, this is actually what we're looking at here in the center picture. This is our RDK3i, which includes our interop piece. So with the interop, we're including a JPS RSPZ2 gateway, and that gateway will allow you to connect up to 2 radios. Depending on what radios you have, we'll include the cables, the required serial cables that connect up to your specific radio. So that'll be part of the ordering process. Let us know what radios you have, and we'll send out two cables to connect up to your radios. Now we can bring those 2 networks together in the kit itself. Just use that as an interrupt or a bridge, or we can now take that LMR network and bridge it into the cellular network or into the WAN network. So whether it's cellular or over satellite. And now we can connect our smartphones, our XP8s, or any phones that have the LMR capability and is configured, can now talk to your LMR radios as well. So a lot of power in this kit just right out of the box. Now I want to talk about how this whole thing works together, just to give you kind of a visual. So as we talked about with the kit itself, once you open the lid, plug in the antennas, and turn the power on, you're building out about 300-foot Wi-Fi bubble. So anything within that bubble can connect to the kit via Wi-Fi. So you own the Wi-Fi, you own the network, you can hand out that SSID and password to anybody that's in the area. Of course, the 4 Sonim XP8s will already be pre-configured to connect to that network, so it's ready to go. And again, with the Ethernet, power over Ethernet ports, you can plug in any of your PoE devices, anything that you want to hardwire to the kit can also be contained. So that's within this, within feet of the kit. The backhaul is, again, the priority is to hit the FirstNet network. That's always going to be the priority of the kit. And once you're connected to FirstNet, of course, you've got connectivity on the back end to all your cellular assets, sitting back in a command center, whether it's data or information within your own network or internet resources. So you've got all that connectivity that you would expect to have through a cellular network. Well, if that's down, now we can deploy the satellite. So it just replaces the cellular piece, right? And now we can get that same connectivity, voice and data, still have access to the same resources on the back end. And again, once the cellular network comes back up, now we just roll back over to the cellular side and we keep that connectivity going. Now within the LAN side, to extend this 300-foot bubble here, now we can talk about the Ragent mesh networking. So imagine these breadcrumbs represented here. Imagine these are a mile or mile and a half apart. Doesn't really bring the scale here in this small, tiny graphic, but imagine they're a mile apart, and now I can connect to any of those units with my Wi-Fi enabled device, whether it's a smartphone, a tablet, a computer, doesn't matter. And in addition to these more stationary devices, and these are small portable devices that you could mount to a tripod. You could strap it around a tree. I actually took some out over the weekend to get some photographs of what we can, how we can manage these kits. And I have one just strapped to a tree. It took me literally 10 seconds to strap it to the tree. And then I can move on, strap one, move on to the next one. And so you just build this whole network out. And this is representative of the portable unit. So this would be one that's strapped onto my gear that's also communicating back to all the breadcrumbs that I'm close to. So I can move in and out and around this network. And as long as I'm in range of a nearby breadcrumb, my device that I'm using connected to my Wi-Fi hotspot that I'm wearing, it's going to backhaul let's go back. Whether I'm on the backside of this network, it's all going to backhaul, and it's going to find the fastest route back to the kit and then out to whatever WAN resource I happen to be connected to at the time. So a lot of really cool ways to use the kit and extend the kit with accessories. And we're coming up or hearing new use cases from customers all the time. So definitely would be interested to hear what your use case is. And of course, if you have any questions about the kits, we're here to entertain how we can help you build out your own use case and scenario. So getting in real quick to what the models look like. This is the base model. So this does not include the JPS interrupt. That's a future kit. But the base model comes with everything we've talked about with the cradle point, the 4 smartphones, all the Ethernet connectivity, the Wi-Fi piece, the charging capabilities. So this is one SKU, if you will, to order. And then a second one is a bundled RDK3 with the Inmarsat Explorer 710 included as well. And the satellite works off of a prepaid card that you purchase so many units, and there's a variety of different levels of units that you can purchase at the initial purchase. And then if you need to refill those units, it's as simple as purchasing an additional prepaid card. Here's some example of the units that we have available along with the current pricing. And then coming soon is the interop one. So that's basically where we add the JPS RPS Z2 gateway and the serial ports. So you'll note on the serial ports on all these images, that actually takes away one of the PoE or Ethernet ports. The RDK3, the standard kit, will actually have 4 ports available. This one has 3, and then in addition to the serial connectivity. And then of course we've got the bundled solution with the satellite included as well. So 4 different ways to build your own custom solution, and available. 2 of them available today. 2 of them will be available coming hopefully real soon. And Sean, I think that's it for my my side of the conversation here. If you want to talk about customer experience.
Oh, that'd be fantastic, and we're going to have you back for questions and answers, because we've already got about 7 or 8 questions from the team. So keep those questions coming. And Craig, what a great overview of the Sonim Rapid Deployment Kit, and a big thank you for that review. So guys, hopefully that information gives you a lot of clear understanding of just how good this deployment kit can help you in your planning. So please keep those questions coming in, and we'll be getting to them in just a few. So now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about how we can support you once you purchase this Rapid Deployment Kit. Sonim has a fantastic service, and what makes it even better for you all is, as FirstNet customers, this is a completely free service. So it's our way of thanking you for what you do in your everyday work to keep us all safe and protected. The FirstCare deployment team will be available to you every step of the way, whether it's on-site or in person, to offer both the pre and the post-deployment support, helping you manage the actual setup and deployment along with the training. We're really here to make sure and ensure that you and your team understands how to operationalize the Sonim RDK. You know, as many of you read through this or listened to Craig speak, it may look confusing, but quite frankly, it's not nearly as confusing as it seems. It's very simple to use. It's just getting used to it in the beginning. So we're here for you every step of the way. But as AT&T FirstNet customers, you all will have access to a dedicated priority number that's available 24/7, which is that 1855 First Sonim number, as well as a priority email address that will bump your emails to the top of our support queue. And that's the FirstCare@sonimtech.com. So you guys have ready access to us if you have any questions whatsoever. We're here every step of the way. So Craig, if you don't mind, on to the next slide, please. When you're in the field, or you just have a question about the RDK, your first point of contact is our Sonim Customer Experience Center, as shown on the chart here in that red box. So give us a ring, and we'll do everything we can to resolve the issue. And if for some reason our team isn't available to resolve right on the spot, then based on whatever the issue might be, we will engage the appropriate party with you guys still on the line to make sure we have all the resources talking to each other. As you know, some of these technical, pieces take more time to fix. So if for some reason we're not able to resolve the issue on the phone with you, then we'll continue to collaborate with the respective partners and keep in communication with you until the issue is resolved. All of this support activity for your own well-being is going to be captured in our CRM. We use Salesforce, and we'll provide you with a ticket number should you ever need to call back in and reference the issue with our team again. That'll be able to pull up your ticket, be able to pull up all the notes that are attached to your record. So the 24/7 support and the technical resources that surround this offering hopefully gives you the confidence that the Sonim RDK is going to be a great tool in your toolbox as it comes to emergency planning. So we've reached the end of the technical review of the Sonim RDK. So again, thank you, Craig, and Fred's not with us, but thank him as well. So now, before we get into the Q&A section, I'd like to introduce Jim Daly and ask him to say a few words to you all. Jim, please.
Hey, Sean, thank you very much. And, Fred, Craig, Sean, excellent job in providing all of our customers that are on the line this morning. And we really thank you for providing that information so everybody can get up to speed on the Sonim RDK. I would like to take this time to thank everybody that has been invited and registered and is on the line this morning. And those that did not make it, we'll make sure that we do have a link, and Sean will tell you more about that here in a minute. I'll be very brief. We want to get to the Q&A, but I did want to make sure that everyone knows on the call, what are the next steps? Here we are, 2.5 weeks into the hurricane season. We've got 3 named storms already. So, this is very important and a priority for all of us to make sure that when, as Fred mentioned, getting first responders to a remote site, getting on the National Guard helicopter, taking the RDK with them, it's very important that they are safe as much as finding and saving lives for search and rescue. So we want to make sure that you know where to get this information on the Sonim RDK. That would be myself. You'll see all of my information there. I want to make sure that everybody knows how to get a hold of me, and you'll see the information. We'll make sure you get more information as needed, because we will have a follow-up here. But I will be your point of contact to make sure that we can get to the next steps. The one thing that I'm very concerned is that when you get on one of these webinars, is where are the next steps? And the next steps is all hands on deck from Sonim to make sure that we have open lines of communication with you and all of your stakeholders that you're going to circle back with within your own organizations. And we'd like to, put on the table that if for any reason you want some additional detailed information, please get in contact with me. I'll be reaching out as well. And we don't mind providing a one-off, if you will, with a presentation to make sure that we get your teams and your stakeholders up to speed on the RDK. So very important to us from a Sonim perspective with hurricane season here now to make sure that we get that information out to all of the stakeholders within your respective organizations. So again, Sean and everybody on the call, thank you. And Sean, I'll let you go ahead and get to the Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim. Great info. And you're right on point, because one of the questions that's going to be coming up is exactly about search and rescue. So let's go ahead on that note and let's get the questions going. So the first question from the group, can a Sonim device tie into the deployables? Craig?
As far as the RDK kit, yes, absolutely. So those are the 4 that come with the kit. Will be pre-configured to connect to the kit via Wi-Fi.
Excellent, excellent. The next question from the group, when you mention the FirstNet cellular network, does the RDK use band 14 only, or is it able to connect on non-band 14?
Yeah, I can take that one. Yes, absolutely. FirstNet network, it will connect to any AT&T bands, including band 14. So of course it's going to the priority will be band 14, but if it's not available, it will connect to other AT&T frequencies as well.
Excellent, excellent. All righty, next one. Can I connect an external antenna to the RDK to keep the RDK inside a building, but have the better connection from the external antenna?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's actually a twofold question. So you could have the RDK inside a building with the cellular antennas extended outside the building. They're just standard antenna ports. So if you have your own antenna solution, absolutely can put that outside to bring that signal into the building. And then also on the flip side of that, on the LAN side, you can also extend the antennas from the kit into the building. So if you've got a Wi-Fi antenna solution that you'd like to hook up to the kit, we can also bring that in as well to extend the coverage area.
Fantastic. Oh, this is a very good question. Can I charge the RDK via solar for remote operations?
So we don't have a integrated solution today, but the kit does have the included 110 charging cable. So as long as that cable can plug into a solar solution that you may have today, or if it's something you're looking at purchasing, as long as you can make that connectivity, then yes, it would absolutely be able to charge via solar.
Fantastic. Next question, can the mesh network handle the LMR integration?
Yes, absolutely. So with the LMR integration, now this is from the cellular side of the integration. So if you've got a smartphone that's LMR enabled, yes, you can initiate or receive calls across the mesh, since that's data, back to the RDK kit. It'll get processed through the JPS solution, and then through your donor radio can send that transmission or receive, whichever direction you're going, through your LMR network.
Fantastic, fantastic. Next question here. Could we do a test of this new solution during a SAREX, search and rescue exercise?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working today just kind of on the tail end of wrapping this up, actually, of building out some demo kits, or what I call trial kits, that we can hand off to any customer for extended period of time. I think we're kind of limiting it because we do have a limited number to a 14-day trial. So if you get with us, let us know when you're going to need it. See if we can get you slotted into our trial calendar. And yes, we can get you the RDK kit. We could get you a satellite sample as well, along with the mesh. So just depending on which pieces you needed, we can absolutely put a full boat of equipment together for a trial. Or if you just needed the kit itself, we can just send you the kit.
Fantastic, fantastic. The next question, and this is going to be to me, and unless Craig, you're familiar with this, but I'll do some follow up with our friends at Inmarsat. But who do I contact to reload the VSAT card? Do I call Inmarsat directly, and is the 800 number 24/7? So you will need to call Inmarsat directly to refill the card, and I will follow up with you on whether it is a 24/7 line or if it's a business hour line.
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is 24/7, and that information's included in the documentation that comes with the kit as well, along with any troubleshooting support that you might need for the hardware. It's also supported by Inmarsat directly as well.
Fantastic. All right, thank you. And the last question. Oh no, we got a few more popping in. Here we go. This is a very good one. This is a two-part question as well. How do the mesh nodes handle backhaul? Is it within the Wi-Fi band 2.4 and 5, or do they connect using a different band? Related, is there an expected drop in the throughput per node?
So the nodes that I showed as an example are the Radiant ES1 nodes. Those are by default on band 2.4 and 5, just as you mentioned. So they will actually communicate on both. So the backhaul piece, it'll have a dual connection between each of the mesh nodes, and then of course it's going to utilize that mesh network to determine what's the fastest route back to the kit. As far as a drop, with any wireless network configuration, there is going to be expected minimal amount of drop between nodes. But for voice communication, it's going to be such a minimal amount that you probably wouldn't even notice a difference. That depends on how large of a network you build. But I can say Radiant has existing customers that have built a 100% mesh network, and they're up to 700 nodes in climbing. So how many nodes could you put in a network? It's really unlimited at this point. Region's trying to test the network to see what that maximum might be, and they haven't reached it yet.
All right, nice. And the last question, here we go. How long will it take to receive a kit after placing an order?
So the kits are custom built to order. So currently it's about an 8-week process from the day you order it to the day you get it delivered. And of course, if the number of requests come in, that number could go up a little bit, but it's about 8 weeks today.
Fantastic. So get the orders in if you see the needs, and certainly reach out to Jim for any questions about that. So, all right, that rounds it up for the questions so far. If there's no other questions from the group, let's go ahead and close this out. So please send questions to support@sonimtech.com or directly to Jim Daly if you have any additional questions and you'd like them answered. We will certainly do our best to get back to you as quickly as we can. So guys, thank you all for taking time out of your schedule to join us. And if you have any questions, as I said, as Jim mentioned, please reach out to Jim. He's definitely here to help guide you in your decision-making process and how Sonim can help with this. We will be sending you each a link to this webinar so you can watch it again or share with any of your counterparts or teammates who might not have been able to make it. We'll also be sending out a survey to each of you asking you to take just a couple minutes to review the webinar and provide feedback so we can ensure our webinars meet your needs and develop the best content to share. So to wrap it all up, on behalf of everyone here at Sonim, I just want to thank you all for not only attending today, but for all of the great work you guys do within your communities and keeping everybody safe. I know there are challenging times with COVID-19 right now, but please wish everyone their best safety and health, as many of you on the front lines. So please take care and be safe.